Hi everyone. I'm just here to do a quick um, video about a comparison between three lenses. The Nikon 51.2 S for the Z mount, the Nikon 1.8 also for the Z mount, and then finally with the Sony 51.2 GM for the Sony E mount. For this setup, Um, I have it like on a tripod, um, with two Rotolight Neos, lighting on continuous mode on this chart that you see here, and then all of this shot on a Nikon Z9, including the Sony GM lens, using a mega adapter to be able to mount it and focus. Now, like again, this is very rudimentary. This is just to dispel the rumors or the theories that the Nikon 50mm 1.2 is not sharp. So what you're seeing right now on your screen is Nik the chart focused on minimum focusing distance on the Nikon, um, focused directly on the center um, of the chart. And um, yeah, I mean, like, this is not super scientific. Ideally you should have like totally parallel plane of focus on the camera and the subject, which in this case is the chart. And with really, like, this minimum focusing distance, and super shallow depth of field, it will be a challenge. So it's not really, should I say, um, set up like very very accurately, because again, that will be too much work, and I really just don't have time for that. Again, going back to this one, we have the Nikon on the left, the Sony on the right, both at 1.2. Again, minimum focus distance set on the Nikon. Now, what you probably notice right off the bat is that the Nikon is actually longer than the Sony. So this is one of the things that makes it even more, a little bit more annoying to do a comparison with, because they're not even close to exact on focus, on focal length. But having said that, I mean, let's just get right on to it. Like, so, yeah, in the you can see here, like, the uh 200%. Let's go with 100% for now. Other than the contrast, or like, slightly, I guess, underexposure in the Nikon, it's really splitting hairs in my opinion. Like at 1.2, um, again, like, there's no adjustments done to this one, so I'm I don't think so. It's may appear that the Nikon is underexposed because I let the camera exposed to whatever. But I don't know. As you can see, like, with the magnification and at close minimum focus distance, like, you can't really say that the Nikon, you can it's really splitting hairs between the two. And if anything, like, Nikon fared better with longitudinal chromatic aberrations, as you can see here on the Sony. There's a some purple fringing, which I really like, which is really important to me, that there's the absence of loca at close focus distance and wide open aperture. Um, yeah, but like, on the sides, like, you gotta give it to Sony. Like, it's well, it's for the most part, it retains resolution better than the Nikon as you go to the sides, but I wouldn't be too hung up on this because like again, my setup is not really super accurate. Like here you could see that even the Nikon is doing slightly better with less chromatic aberration on the sides. um Here Nikon is doing better as well, but again, I'm probably gonna I I'm not gonna I don't care too much on that side, because like if I'm doing minimum focus distance at 1.2, my subject is not going to be in on the sides or in the corner, so I don't really care. All right, so quick jump to the next two, I guess. Let's focus on one point. Let's compare um the Nikon 1.8 51.8 and the Nikon 1.2, both shot at 1.8. All right, so again, no same setup, and like focus on the center. I let the camera do its job, so you could see like based like you can see that the light transmission affects like how the camera exposes for the subject. Given the 51.8 wide open, there's less transmission compared to the 51.2 at 1.8. So the Nikon was able to expose better for the same subject. But that's not what the topic is, like, that we need to focus on. So again, all right. So you can see here at 1.8. Well, okay. Before that, like again, you can see that Nikon is longer in focal length than the 1.8, which is even wider than the Sony 1.2. So I don't know which one is really at 50, but whatever. So yeah, I mean here at 1.8, there's really no contest. The Nikon 1.2 at f1.8 just is just better than the Nikon 1.8. So I'm not even gonna continue, but expounding on it, you could see how much sharper it is, like on the center. There's also better contrast, no chromatic aberrations at all. Well, on the sides, I think again, I don't care too much about this because of what I said in the beginning, that my setup is not is not as precise. But here you could argue that the 51.8 is slightly better with better contrast, less chromatic aberration. But here in this area, the 1.2 is better. On the corners, nobody cares about the corners at this aperture. So yeah, I mean, there's not much to it from here. This is just a video just to dispel the rumors that the Nikon f1.2s is not sharp, because it is. As you can see in the beginning, even at f1.2, there's largely not it's sharp, and there's virtually no longitudinal chromatic aberration compared to the Sony at f1.2, which to me makes the Nikon better as an all around lens, at least for my purpose. All right, guys. Until the next video.